Welcome to the debate. When we watch a toddler learn their first language, it looks almost like magic.
Oh, absolutely.
Right, they just exist in the world, they absorb the sounds around them, and suddenly they are fluent. But for adults, that organic magic is, well, it's gone. The question is, do we try to recreate that natural childhood absorption, or do we accept that adult fluency requires cold, hard, engineered discipline?
Right.
I argue that adults absolutely can learn naturally. Give the brain consistent exposure to authentic input, and it automatically maps and internalizes linguistic patterns.
Well, I come at it from a different way. Labeling these adult methods as natural is, fundamentally misleading. Adapting language learning for an adult brain requires deliberate, highly active habits that are entirely distinct from how a toddler effortlessly absorbs their mother tongue.
Do you really think they're entirely distinct?
Yeah, I do. It isn't natural. It is an act of cognitive engineering.
But passive exposure is the ultimate catalyst here. If you engage with authentic media like podcasts, films, for just 15 minutes a day, your brain does the heavy lifting on its own.
Heavy lifting?
Yes, you don't even need to understand every word because the underlying pattern recognition is an automatic subconscious process.
You call it natural, but look at shadowing. Forcing an adult to mimic phonetics and rhythm milliseconds after hearing them isn't organic.
Well,
It's an intense, mechanical, cognitive drill. A toddler doesn't shadow their parents with that kind of deliberate, analytical focus.
okay, but think of shadowing more like building muscle memory in tennis. When you first learn to swing the racket, the mechanics feel entirely artificial and hyperconscious.
Right, exactly.
But that deliberate action physically rewires your neural pathways until it creates a completely natural automatic reflex. You're just priming the brain's innate engine.
A reflex you had to intentionally engineer. And that same engineered approach applies directly to how adults have to tackle vocabulary.
Not necessarily. When adults internalize native chunks, ready-made expressions like it totally makes sense, rather than memorizing isolated vocabulary, they effectively bypass the adult prefrontal cortex. The adult brain desperately wants to analyze grammar rules, but by absorbing whole chunks and embracing the inevitable errors during real conversations, you sidestep that analytical trap. That absolutely mirrors the natural acquisition process.
Okay, I will grant that grammar isn't everything, but the environment you need to absorb those chunks proves my point. Take micro-immersions.
Okay,
Forcing yourself to think in English, changing your phone's operating system, curating your social media feeds. You are engineering a synthetic linguistic environment. It is like building a high-tech greenhouse for a tropical plant in Antarctica.
that's quite the image.
Yes, the plant grows, but the environment keeping it alive is the definition of artificial engineering.
But the very fact that we can build that greenhouse completely shatters the old myth that you have to physically live in an English-speaking country to become fluent. The natural environment can be successfully recreated anywhere using modern technology.
I agree, geography isn't the limiting factor anymore. But keeping that greenhouse powered requires immense discipline. As the old analogy goes, language learning is much more like watering a plant than running a marathon.
Right, you need that consistency.
Exactly. You need that daily consistency, 20 minutes every single day. Maintaining that digital bubble day in and day out requires strict artificial discipline. It is a scheduled regimen, not organic absorption.
Well, I would argue that consistency is simply the vehicle. It's the key that unlocks the brain's innate evolutionary capability to acquire language.
And I maintain that the vehicle itself, the phonetics drills, the digital bubbles, the daily regimens, it proves that adult acquisition is a deeply intentional construct, not a natural phenomenon.
I suppose we do certainly agree on a few fundamental truths here.
Yeah.
The absolute superiority of consistency over intensity is undeniable, as is the reality that you have to make thousands of embarrassing errors before fluency is reached. Perfection is absolutely not the path to progress.
Completely. The mechanics of adult cognition are fascinating, and the fact that we can essentially hack our own neuroplasticity to acquire a new language is incredible. There is so much more to explore here.
There really is. So we will leave it up to you, the listener, to decide where the truth lies. Does that daily 20-minute habit return you to the natural magic of childhood? Or are you just a highly skilled engineer of your own mind?